Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red2 Chatter, the show about everything Star Wars. And today, I don't know how much.
More like a show about everything Han Solo right now.
Yeah, right now. I mean, it's Star Wars. Han
Yes,
Solo is
right.
Star Wars.
Well, it is.
So today we got some Star Wars news, some Solo news, I guess, is the main thing that we're going to be talking about today, and a little rant by yours truly. So, let's just jump right in. I'll save the rant for last. So let me find my cursor. There we go. I'm trying to find our first topic. Oh, okay, that's not this one. We only have like a couple, right? When they have like a few to get through.
Right.
Not that much. Apologies, the internet has been slow recently. At least on my laptop it has been.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah. And I'll kind of bring that up again.
And we talked about that last week.
Did we talk about that one? The Kenobi one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we start right here then.
Yep, the TV series.
So Jon Favreau's TV series set before The Force Awakens.
And like I said on my Facebook post, more like after Return of the Jedi. It's closer to Return of the Jedi than it is Force Awakens.
So, probably before that Star Wars Resistance show.
Cartoon, yes. Yeah. Before that.
Okay.
And it's not going to be about Luke and Leia and Han and all them. It's going to be about something else. It's got to be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to touch on what Luke's doing and what Leia's doing. It'd probably be another sector of either the rebellion or, after the aftermath of the rebellion. It might follow maybe more the aftermath books. I don't know.
It says it will take a full 7 years after Return of the Jedi, and it will feature brand new characters, not unlike those aforementioned trilogies and the works of Johnson and the Thrones showrunners.
Yeah, so all new characters.
Yep. And it's going to be also air via Disney's soon-to-be-released streaming platform. They've been talking about this streaming platform, and I've heard no news about it, what it's going to be named, what it's going to have on it.
I'm sure it's just going to be the Disney streaming or whatever.
That's a bit of a mouthful, though. Usually
Disney
you
streaming?
want something... Diz streaming? Usually Disney will find some way to make it, kind of corny. But
yeah, well, it'll fit into the Hulu, Netflix type thing, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I've heard no news about, what exactly is going to be on it.
Or when it's coming out.
Yeah, or when it's coming out.
Yeah, when it's supposed to go live and be available to the public, I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah. But
I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Because, I like Jon Favreau. He does some pretty good stuff.
It's going to force me to buy the Disney streaming.
Well, I was probably going to get it anyway. Just because Star Wars is a part of Disney now, so...
And Marvel. And
all the Marvel movies. So, I was probably going to do it anyway. And I still love watching some of the older Disney movies. One of my favorite animated movies is Pinocchio, because it's just so messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love watching Mary Poppins, the original, so... There's a lot of good stuff on there that I will probably end up watching.
Yeah.
Aside from Star Wars and Marvel.
So, well, we'll see.
But until we know where Jon Favreau wants to go with this, there's not much to say about it. We can't even really speculate on what it's going to be about, because with all new characters, it could be anything. It could have nothing to do with the rebellion and the...
Yeah, I guess
where the rebellion went from, or...
Yeah, you never really kind of... Yeah, you don't know exactly how that really unfolded. I mean, do they put back in the Republic and the Senate and all that
right
bureaucracy and all that nonsense?
Yeah.
Well, they do if you go into some of the Aftermath books and stuff, and some of the other novels that are out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Next topic that we have is Lucasfilm boss all but confirms that Lando: A Star Wars Story is next.
I mean, we haven't even seen the movie yet. So they're fairly confident that Lando could maybe
hold its own movie.
Hold down its own movie. But do we need a Lando?
No, not really. I kind of like.
Until I see the movie, I guess I'll withhold.
I kind of like the idea
but...
of Lando being more of a mystery, where he doesn't really need his own movie. He's more in my opinion, Lando is more suited to a side role than a main character role.
Yeah.
I just don't see where you go with that, where it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Right, because we've picked him up a little bit in the Rebels cartoon.
Yeah.
So they sprinkled him in there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in this movie quite a bit, I have a feeling.
Right, so
And they're going to give you a lot of his backstory in this movie. Why do we need movie about Lando? Unless it's
unless they
happened to Lando after, Return of the Jedi or something.
Right. Or unless
older Lando.
They just came up with some crazy, Lando adventure that they could send him on. Maybe. But, I don't know. It just doesn't seem...
And we have, the Lando comic books, too.
Right.
Yeah, see, with Obi-Wan, it makes more sense to make a movie about him. Because there's... Obi-Wan can definitely hold his own movie. We saw that in the Clone Wars.
He's the main character pretty much.
Basically, Anakin and him are the main characters in that. They which is kind of interesting because, it's usually solely focused on Luke in the original trilogy, but in the prequel trilogy, there's two main characters.
Yeah.
It's Obi-Wan and Anakin. And honestly, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan just steals the show every time. No offense to what's his name? Hayden Christensen. He does a great job, but at least in Revenge of the Sith he did.
Hayden Christensen also only played him for 2 movies.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and Ewan McGregor played 3 all 3 movies, so he had more time to build his character, but he's just a better actor too.
Yeah.
No offense, Hayden, but you're not that great.
Well, I think
you're not just as good as.
Well, just understands acting more, and he just he doesn't need as much direction to be a good actor.
That was the problem.
Right.
Hayden Christensen didn't get any direction.
Right, didn't receive enough direction to pull the good acting out.
Yeah. Except for in Revenge of the Sith, with his facial expressions, they're really good. He's a good facial expression actor without direction. It's the dialogue stuff that needs work. But Ewan McGregor can definitely hold his own movie, and I would absolutely love to see a Kenobi movie.
Well, I think they're still moving forward
movie.
with the Obi-Wan movie.
Yeah, I hope so.
I just think they're saying the next Star Wars story after that will be after the Obi-Wan movie might be a Lando movie.
Yeah, but they should just.
And if they're gonna do it, they need to do it early, just because. I mean, especially if you want the same actor to play him, and you want him to be relatively the same age.
Oh, Donald Glover.
Yeah, Donald Glover. You need him. You have to do it quick if they're gonna do it at all. I don't think the trilogies that the 2, Rian Johnson's trilogy and
the Game of Thrones guys,
showrunners. I don't think their trilogies are going to fall under that heading of a Star Wars story. I think they're going to be their own thing.
Yeah.
I think the Star Wars stories are almost like one-offs, like this Han Solo, like Rogue One.
Yeah.
Even though they're
not a trilogy.
Right. Yeah. Even though they're talking sequels
for Solo.
But maybe the sequel we get for Solo will be a Lando-centric movie.
Yeah.
Well, if that's true, then why make a Lando movie at all?
Right.
I mean, especially if you're going to make, they're already talking about Han Solo into a trilogy. Well, I'm sure Lando's going to be in there. Well, maybe not. Maybe
depends on how they end it.
Depends on how they end it, yeah. Because then it's like they hasn't seen him in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just don't see where it's going to be much different of a movie though than the Solo.
Yeah,
movie
than
will
Solo, because it's gonna be the same
'Cause-
kind of concept, because it's gonna be smugglers.
be. It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Unless you want to go see how Lando buys the Tibetan gas mines and he's the administrator.
he's
He's just doing his administrative work at friggin' Cloud City.
The whole movie
talking
is
to
just
Lobot.
him sitting at a desk. while-
They're pushing papers and friggin' talking to Lobot.
Just have his little communicator talking to Lobot.
Yeah, I know.
did you guys get to Sector C yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, those Ugnaughts on Sector D aren't working. Get them back to work.
Yeah.
Like,
I just don't see it. I just don't see where you really take a Lando movie unless you just rehash what the Han Solo movie's going to be.
right,
Yeah.
because they're essentially the same character.
Yeah, and then you're gonna.
I mean, they have different qualities, but they're essentially the same character.
And you're talking
Yeah.
about making more Solo movies. Well, then it's just going to be like 4 Solo movies. Just one of them's going to be Lando. I just don't see where it's just going to get. I think it could get old fast.
Are they gonna
if
do
that.
Right.
Kira a Star Wars story? Beckett a Star Wars story? like
I just don't see where it would be enough of a contrast between that and the Solo movie to make it worthwhile.
look, can we just talk about can you guys come up with some other better ideas than the Solo story? Like, granted, we're getting Rian Johnson and Game of Thrones and Favreau, but still, I would like to see something different other than Star Wars story all the time, or at least not centered on one character.
Yeah, well, Rogue One wasn't really centered.
Yeah,
I mean, Jyn Erso is sort of the main character, but it was
centered on the group mostly.
Yeah.
On the Rogue One squad. So, I would love to see more movies like that,
Oh,
Right.
I agree.
Right.
I definitely agree. Well, I can't say that though because we don't have any ones that are. This is the first movie that's
True.
That's focused on just one
Just
character.
I know,
So,
but just the
you don't-
concept
yeah,
is,
Yeah, I just don't want to see rehashing, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars
Yoda story, Boba Fett,
Darth Vader, just concentrating on
Darth Vader is
Star
You mean the
Wars
prequels?
Right.
Well, what's it called? It could be like what happened, how he goes and hunts down the rest of the Jedi.
True. But we already have comics for that.
Right. Leia, a Star Wars
Where's
story. We just don't need all that extras.
Yeah.
On characters we already know.
No.
And are familiar with.
Yeah, I want to see the universe expanding.
Right. I want to
Keep
see.
it expanding.
I'm super excited for the Solo movie.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah, me too.
I can't wait.
And
to
if
see
they do an Obi-Wan movie, I'll be there opening night. But you're like, I want to see more If they're gonna do Star Wars stories one-offs, I want to see them more like Rogue One,
Yeah.
where it's maybe
If
a
you wanna
group
do
you
it-
heard of that it was just mentioned briefly, and then they do.
Well, if you want to do, if you're gonna do a Lando story, it better be the Battle of Tanab.
Yeah.
That better be the end of it of the movie.
right.
At least then that gives me a little bit. It ties
context,
it
right.
and it ties it into Return of the Jedi, and it gives you a
Right.
little more It just ties those movies
Right.
together, and you want to. Then it's okay.
Gets a little more continuity.
Yeah.
But
Right. But they mentioned.
But that means he was like he was like a leader of some sort. He wasn't just a smuggler at the Battle of Tanab.
Right.
So that will give me something different than the Han Solo rehash.
Yeah.
But just with Lando.
Right, why was Lando even involved in the Battle of Tanab,
Tanab,
and what
yeah.
was the Battle of Tanab?
Yeah.
My maneuver at the Battle of Tanab.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
You don't know. And it, like I said, then it's not just another smuggler doing a mission type movie. It's
Right.
something different. It's how did he get entangled in? Because it sounds like it was more than likely it was the rebellion versus the Empire. How did he get tangled up in that? Because that's not Lando until Return of the Jedi.
Right, and then like I said, we see him a little bit in Rebels as his smuggler type personality,
Yes.
and maybe that's the tie-in, that it goes from what we see of him in this new Solo movie, to that character we see in Rebels, to now he's familiar with the rebellion, to the Battle of Tanab, to Return of the Jedi. If you could link those, or Empire Strikes Back. No,
Yeah.
yes,
he's
Empire
in
Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could link those things, maybe it would work. like that storyline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. So we got some new images too. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we got some new images because it was on the same page. So we got Lando sitting in the cockpit. Get a little bit more of a view of like all the, levers and buttons.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different angle that you've ever seen from the Millennium Falcon cockpit.
Yeah, because it's basically looking from Chewie's seat.
Right.
Yeah, which I quite like. It's pretty cool. Like you get to see like all these like you gotta wonder like what
What's
is
all
the
that stuff
purpose?
do?
Yeah, of all this stuff. And
That's a lot of freaking buttons.
Right.
yeah, a lot of lights.
But that's all it could be, is mostly just readouts.
Or yeah, it's just systems, different systems. When something
Right.
goes down, you have to go over there and punch buttons to fix it. And
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like,
doing diagnostics or who knows.
human waste disposal system could be one of those
Well,
panels.
panels.
One complaint of the cockpit. Where's the cup holders?
Where's the cup holders? Yeah.
Need some cup holders in there. You got Han Solo hanging from the train.
Train. Dangling off the train. That's pretty good.
That is a pretty good photo.
Pretty good shot.
Yeah.
You got
Silhouetted Han Solo.
in the bar where he's meeting Lando
Yep.
at the Pizzac
And you
table.
can see like a lot of skulls. Like it's like a hunting lodge type
Yeah, it
place.
is. It's kind of looking.
Well,
a
that might be
cabin.
what you see
Yeah.
when they're walking up to it and there's that big skull that's
Right.
down. That might be where the...
Yeah, the big
he actually-
tusks.
Yeah, Maybe
bet
that's where that building is.
I gotta admit,
Sure it
it's
is.
weird to see something in the Star Wars universe made out of wood. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
other
the-
than like
I mean,
Ewok
Ewok
Village.
Village?
yeah, other than the like Ewok Village, it's weird to see like this cabin. Like,
You
Right.
may know what the name of the Ewok village is.
no,
Stop.
I used to know it, and I don't remember it anymore. It has an actual name.
Starbright Village or
There you go.
oh,
Something
like
that.
from the
Something.
Ewoks,
Like
Ewok
right, something Starbright
animated-
village or something like that.
something like that.
animated
look that one up.
series. Is
Yeah.
that what they said it? Starbright Village.
Something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
If
Something
it's
like
not
that.
right, it's close.
But yeah, it's weird to see like a cabin lodge type of place. It's because we've never seen that in Star Wars before. Not really.
Yeah, usually everything's very either rock or metallic.
Or marble, or
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, like stucco-y looking,
Mm-hmm.
like the Lars homestead, and
Yeah.
yeah.
everything on what's it called?
Tatooine.
Tatooine is like stucco looking.
It's
to me.
it's all
sandstone.
stucco.
Yeah, it's all made out of sand blown onto it on the side of some
Yep.
concrete or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Next one. Here we got Val, Beckett, and Han. Maybe checking out the train. Maybe like
Doing a little
It's
recon,
it
maybe.
definitely has got to be that same planet because that's the
Snow.
train's got
Right.
snow and they're laying in the snow there. Kind of takes you back to Han looking over the snow at the what's it
And
called?
Hoth.
Hey, at the droid, the
Yeah.
Imperial probe droid.
Yep. Yeah, it's
I
got a
didn't hit
little.
it that hard. Must have had a self-destruct button or something.
you got Kira and her furry.
That might, yeah.
It looks like she's inside that
Coat.
lodge. It's got
Yeah.
some wooden background. Looks like that might be the outfit she's wearing at the lodge where Lando is.
Yeah,
There's Chewie.
on the
That
same
wintry
planet.
landscape. Yep.
Actually, isn't this also where they meet Beckett for the first time?
No, it looks like a sandy.
Is it?
Yeah, I think this.
That's
I,
where like Enfy's nest. It looks
Oh,
more
yeah.
sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is where the train is.
Yeah. This is where the job is, I think.
Here we go. You got a better picture of
Dryden
Voss.
Voss.
Boss.
with his Mandalorian suit in the background.
Background.
Yep.
Is that his suit on that thing, or is that a person in a suit?
No, I think that's just like a displayed suit.
Like
Or-
you would, like almost like a Japanese samurai
Yeah.
outfit back there.
Yeah.
Or do you think like Voss is like Fett, where they were like disgraced from Mandalore?
Maybe.
I think that's kind of where they got the inspiration for the Boba Fett outfit, is from Japanese
I think that's where
samurai.
I think that's where Lucas got and
Because that's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit. If you think of something like
McQuarrie. I think they did pull a lot of things from like samurai.
samurai to get the
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
I mean,
And
one of the
Mandalorians
main-
are even like kind of remind you of like a samurai kind of like
Clan.
Yeah.
society.
one of the main inspirations for Star Wars itself was a mixture of Flash Gordon and a samurai movie that I do not remember the name of.
And World War II.
And World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a culmination
Seventh
of
Samurai.
Seven Samurai. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a culmination of those three things, and also a little bit of Wizard of Oz. Because if you look at some of the characters, like C-3PO, Chewbacca, Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man,
Yeah.
you know, it is a little bit like Wizard of Oz, a little bit. And I guess you could kind of say maybe Han is the Scarecrow. I don't know. But, yeah, they took a lot of inspiration from a lot of things. It's like a
Well, almost everybody
culmination
does.
Yeah.
I mean,
of things coming together.
I mean, just think about the project we're doing. We take inspiration from all sorts of things we're fans of.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just how people create
create
things.
yep. Create something different,
Right.
but still a little bit familiar.
Yep.
Yeah, him and Chewie, Han and Chewie sitting at a bar.
That's the same lodge looking
Yeah, it
thing
looks
to
like
me.
it is because that wooden bar top and
The background.
the background. Yeah.
I like the droid in the background.
Yeah, he's an interesting looking guy.
Also, like, Chewie's, like, slicked his hair back,
yeah.
kind of. He's got his...
Yeah, he looks more like he does in, like we see him in A New Hope
Yeah.
in that picture.
Well, now it's just getting blown all over the place.
See,
and
that's the sandy
That's the sandy ground where they
where
Yeah.
Enfys Nest is.
Enfys Nest kind of that showdown looking.
Yeah. That Western showdown
Yeah.
that you see in the trailers and TV spots.
I can't wait for this movie.
I know. I'm pretty
There's them
excited.
sitting around the campfire. It's
Yeah.
like when Beckett tosses him the
Gun.
gun.
Now that could be inside one of those, like even with the Cura, that could be inside one of those tents out in the,
Right.
where it's the sandy area too.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have to be in the lodge.
You got one of L337. Another one of L337. And that's it. So yeah, very cool pictures.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it gets me excited for next week.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe it's just next week.
Yep.
So Marvel Comic alludes to Leia's fate ahead of Star Wars Episode 9. Apparently.
Yeah, it's just a brief conversation between her and Poe. It's from the Poe comic.
So you got...
Go back to the first one.
So Chewie says, "Var," and then there's Nub Nub right
You
there,
got Ninub.
Nub.
and she's walking out of the
Well,
Millennium
Leia's
Falcon's
face in that
cockpit.
picture is definitely like a look of concern or like a bad feeling she's
Yeah.
had to the Force or, you know.
Yeah, something.
Because Chewie knows something's wrong.
Yep.
So he says, "So, you figure it out yet, Commander Dameron?" She's talking to Poe. Poe says, "I think so, General Organa." Leia says, "Very good, Poe. I know you had a brain up there somewhere. The truth is, I can't let all of this rest on my shoulders forever. I honestly don't know how long we'll have to. Well, resist. The rebellion went on for decades, and I'm sorry to say, probably sooner than we'd like. I'll be luminous."
So she'll be one with the Force, maybe.
Okay.
She can
Yeah.
maybe feel it
But she's
About to go.
happening in that comic. Yeah, that she knows she's not going to be around forever. So, and maybe that's, you know, that little scene with her and Chewie there is, she can maybe sense it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chewie is
It's
pretty,
like, what's wrong?
right,
Chewie's pretty
in tune.
Yeah, pretty in tune with what's going on around him, so he might even know
Right.
Yeah.
a little bit.
There's nothing to say Chewie's not a little bit Force sensitive. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, who knows? Just a touch. More on the side of like, Chirrut, Emway.
Yeah. Where he's a believer,
Right.
and when it comes down to it, yeah, he could actually use it a little tiny
Right.
bit.
Maybe just gets like little senses every once in a while.
Yeah.
You never know.
So the next one we have is Amelia Clark discusses solo director's shakeup.
Man, they're still talking about this.
Nice.
It's like, dude,
Well,
just let it go already.
I think every time they get interviewed, it
Dude,
gets brought up.
somebody brings it up.
So, I mean, it's that question that sort of looms over the production
Yeah.
of Solo.
It says,
everybody's-
during an interview with Variety, Clark went on about how Howard managed to ease the cast into changes being made, which isn't easy to do. In only one day, he had earned the cast's trust and respect, which is always good to hear since stories like these usually end awkwardly. He took us all in and listened to everyone. He took us from this kind of what are we doing to such a place of ease and comfort and fun.
Well,
That's what she said.
I mean, it doesn't take too much to gain people's respect when you walk in and you're Ron Howard.
Right,
It shouldn't take much.
Right.
Actors should pretty much respect
Like,
you for
whoa.
what you
Yeah.
have done in the past.
And then she
Right.
says, Clark also briefly commented on how she wasn't doing too well with the improvisation style that Lord Miller used when they direct. Granted, not everyone is good at improvisation. You might be like the greatest actor in the world, but improvisation is hard. You have to think up of things off the top of your head and try
Right.
to be funny, and it's hard.
Right, and really, that's not like the improv isn't like there's not too big of a space for it in the Star Wars movie.
No.
No,
You can do a little, but it still has to stick with the script.
You have to have like small things.
Han,
Like
I mean,
Mark Hamill winking at C-3PO in Last Jedi.
well, and like Han Solo, instead of I love you, and he's like I know. That was
an
not.
improv.
He said
Yeah.
he said I love you too in the script, but he just said I
Right.
know because that was improv. Because Harrison Ford's like he wouldn't say that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just not
but
Han.
right, that fit into the script. If you're going off script and improving, that's when it becomes an issue.
And then she says, the actress even admitted that she preferred how some scenes were redone by Howard, saying, yes, thank goodness I did not do that well. So, yeah. Seems like, is it kind of a bit of a mess?
Yeah, I mean,
A little bit?
I just think there's a lot of confusion on set.
Yeah.
And, Lord
Well-
Miller hasn't worked with some of these people ever.
Well, not that, but as soon as you start having conflict between the directors and the production people, the producers, and the owners of or the head of Disney and Lucasfilms and the directors, you start having that conflict, and that trickles down to the actors, and then they just feel like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then then it's just, ugh. I wouldn't want to have to be in that situation.
Right.
That would suck.
Yeah, it would. Here we go. Last topic before I get into my... Yeah. So, Ron Howard says there are so many possibilities for a solo Star Wars story sequel. So it seems like he's even got some pretty big faith in it as well.
Well, and, you've put, so much time and dedication into that project, and then you see it, and you're like, hey, yeah, we can do that. I think your creative mind just starts working.
Yeah, starts thinking of other things that you could do with it.
Beyond what you've already done.
Yeah.
Which I understand how that works. Because, with our project that we've been working on, all of a sudden you start thinking of other things, and oh man, we'll talk about that later today.
Right.
But, man, it can get out of control.
It can get out of control. And the thing you have to do is you have to reel yourself back
you gotta
in
reel
so you
it
don't
back in.
derail your project, and that that's why I think Ron Howard is. I mean, when he says stuff like that, it's like he kind of already knows a specific direction that he would like to go.
with it. Yeah,
Right.
So he says there are so many possibilities. Director of photography Bradford Young sees the possibilities for scenes and ideas. We know where Han Solo's headed, and it would be intriguing to navigate him there.
yeah, because you know where he ends up. So that's
where we meet him in A New Hope.
So yeah, the end of this story. You just got to figure out how he got there.
Right.
Which is there's so much you can do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I can't wait, man. Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
So, this is basically about EA and how they're abandoning ship on Battlefront 2
Already.
already.
It
Already.
hasn't even been out a year, has it?
No, not really. And it
Like
says
6 months even.
currently Battlefront 2 community is shocked and enraged at the state of Battlefront 2 and how EA plans to keep pushing loot boxes in its future games because they've said we are not changing our strategy. They said we are not changing our strategy on microtransactions.
That's
and loot
funny.
boxes.
After that, the one guy, the head of that project, said they realized their mistakes not too long ago, and then but we're gonna go right back to making the same mistakes because we're greedy freaking piece of crap.
Yeah, basically. They were voted as the worst company in America 2 times in a row.
I believe that. EA sucks.
Yeah. So it says, one would think EA would like to make things better, but the company just can't help but make matters worse for it. According to a recent leak from a person believed to be...
Way to turn the phone off, man. It's like the theater, dude. Turn your phone off.
Believed to be an EA DICE developer, EA is planning to abandon Star Wars Battlefront 2. One of the Redditors posted an extensive thread that outlined EA's future plans for Battlefront 2. The source of the information, he claimed, was a random PM from a person claiming to be a DICE developer. To boost his credibility, the developers shared an unreleased image of Princess Leia in Boushh outfit. The outfit was later confirmed by EA in a blog post detailing the future content, which gives credibility to whoever this person is. So, basically, since this post is lengthy, let's just make it easier for you and break it down to the key points. So, number 1, EA does not have a 100% established roadmap, which for a game company is just shameful. Like, especially if you're doing like an online service, you need to have a game plan for what you're doing.
Well, the perfect example is just look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and look at the DC Cinematic.
Yeah,
Marvel
exactly.
has a clear plan and roadmap. DC knows nothing about what they're doing. They have no direction. They had,
They still
they're
don't.
just
in my
out.
opinion.
No,
Yeah, they're just a hot mess.
they are hot mess because all they do is just go from, oh well, this worked. Let's go off that. Let's forget about what we were going to do. This is working here. Let's go up. And then
They did it in Infinity Wars. We got to hurry up and get our freaking Justice League out before that. Or they did Avengers. Let's just copy them.
Yeah.
But get it out there now. But it's crap.
Yeah.
Right, instead
The
of
only thing that they've done
slow
well,
building and
the only thing they've done well so
creating-
far is Wonder Woman, in my opinion.
Yeah. So it says they adapt and sometimes change plans overnight, which is never
No, that's
good
just
thing.
that's the DC
way.
right there.
Well, that's just bad. That's bad. I mean, if that's how you're running your company, how are you still in business?
Yeah.
You can't just be running stuff, doing changes overnight. Changes all the time.
It says next few months will focus on cosmetics and smaller modes, which this game needs a freaking overhaul. It doesn't need smaller modes.
You just need to. If you're not going to really if you can't fix it now because they've already screwed it up, so you might as well just let it go and move on. And that sounds like what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But learn from your mistakes. But EA won't because they suck.
Yeah. It says
but Disney needs to learn from their mistakes and get rid of EA as their creator.
This one is really bad. EA is not allowing developers to communicate with the community. It seems the narrative is being controlled. That's pretty bad.
Well, this is also maybe where Disney needs to come in, or Lucasfilms need to come in and just basically say the video games are not canon.
Yeah.
And then let the creative ideas from the video game community, or the people that are going to make these video games, let them have free reign and let them do fun stuff with it, not trying to wedge it into the canon universe, because it just doesn't. You can't make a good game with that way.
No, you can't because you rely on the player to control a character, and unless you pigeonhole that character into doing exactly what it has to do to suit canon, it's just not gonna be a fun game.
No. So they just need to.
You have to be able to make choices as a player.
You need to drop all this as canon. All this video game stuff.
Yeah.
Just needs to go away as canon.
Right. Yeah.
But they totally. I mean, I remember watching an interview with the lady that does the voice for the main character on the.
Oh, Iden Versio, yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
I watched one, and then she's talking about how it's all canon and all this stuff. And I'm like, you can't do that in a video game.
No.
It's just, I just like, as soon as she said, she's like talking about how,
or at least
she's
make
in the
it
canon universe,
ambiguous.
blah, blah, blah. You can't do that with a video game because, like you said, it pigeonholes that character into doing a certain thing, and you can't.
Well, more importantly, it pigeonholes the player.
Yes.
Like if the player doesn't want Iden, and this is gonna be a spoiler for. But if the player doesn't want Iden Versio to change to the
Rebels
good side, then they should
don't do it.
Right?
Yeah,
they shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
They should be able to keep
make the
Versio
choice.
in the Empire.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Yeah.
But you have no choice.
Because it's canon, so you're forced down this road.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, not enough people watch this show. I wish Disney people would watch this show. You need to friggin' get rid of
EA.
video games.
I mean,
Well, video games
canon.
as canon. And then EA might be able to come up with something okay, but you still need to get rid of EA too, in my opinion, because they suck.
this part is just hilarious to me. Criterion and Motive are no longer working on the game. So the two companies that made something that was actually enjoyable in the game, which was Space Combat, no, they're not. So that means no more Space Combat, updates. You're just gonna have to deal
Unless
with
EA
what you get.
takes those over, but they won't.
And yeah, you think they're gonna do a much better job than Criterion did. Heck, Criterion couldn't even do a better job than freaking Pandemic did back in 2006 with Battlefront, the original Battlefront 2. It's like, how do you mess up that bad? DICE is the only studio working on Battlefront 2, and DICE is already busy with Battlefield 2018. It's just ridiculous. When it comes to bugs, they do not believe we are looking into this or aware of this situation, as these statements are given without having a certain fix in mind.
They're aware of it, but they just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. They're not looking into this. They're aware of the situation, but they're not looking into it.
Well, they might be looking into it, but they're just not going to do anything about it.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. We're looking into it, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, some of the bugs exist since beta and may never get a fix. Only major bugs are being looked at. The only way to get the bugs fixed is to create pressure, be loud. Devs handling Battlefront 2 are not experienced enough to fix the bugs, and devs will push the bugs under the rug if they can't fix it. EA is keeping a strong eye on Reddit, and EA is making efforts to make sure another Battlefront 2 incident doesn't happen again.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. And the problem is like, it seems like EA is like purposefully sabotaging themselves. And I don't get it.
Because they're the largest game producing company in the world, right?
Because they make all their money off Madden, so they can do these other games and just
Yeah.
But so they're taking people off of DICE, and it's apparently that only 100 people now are working on Battlefront 2. This is from other sources that I've read. Only about 100 people, over 100 people are working on Battlefront 2 now. And that's something that you can't have for like a major AAA game like this. And they're doing the same thing that they did with Mass Effect. If you guys remember, Mass Effect, was BioWare's baby, and they loved that baby. But then EA said, no, for the next Mass Effect game, about like three quarters of you guys are going to go work on a different project, and the last remaining people who don't know what the heck they're doing are going to make the next Mass Effect game. What happened? Mass Effect Andromeda was a massive flop because of that, and was a massive failure because no one in that last quarter that was there knew what they were doing, because all the lead designers and stuff went on to Anthem, which brings in what EA's big plan is. They're planning on making Anthem be their magnum opus, their perfection game, where they can just push all the microtransactions out on you and everything like that. Basically, Anthem is going to be an MMO type sci-fi shooter game. But I've heard some troubling things with that game too. First, the lead designer has quit from that game. The lead writer has quit from that game. And the lead production supervisor has left from that game. So it's like everybody is turning their backs on EA and just saying, no, we've had enough. Even BioWare at this point are like, we'd rather be shut down than be continued to make a game that we have no experience of making. Because BioWare is used to making single-player choice games, RPGs, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic. That's what they're used to making. That's their sweet spot. And EA just decided to take them out of their comfort zone and make an MMO RPG with people who have no experience making
Yeah.
MMORPGs.
Yeah, because it's a totally different dynamic.
Yeah.
Making an MMO
Like, granted, you could say, oh yeah, but
versus
they're
a
both
single-player
RPGs.
RPG.
Yeah, they're completely different. So, I
Yeah,
really hope...
yeah, completely different.
I really hope Disney is looking at this. And Kathleen Kennedy, please.
Go to
she's-
go
I
in
think
a
she's
different
more in charge
direction.
of the movie side. I think it's
But
probably
she's the
somebody
head
at
of
LucasArts.
everything.
Yeah, she's the head of
She's
everything.
head of everything, though. She has the final say on this stuff.
Yeah, so just
She is
Well,
the
Bob
CEO.
Iger probably does because he's the head of Disney, itself.
but she's the head of Lucasfilm.
Right.
Or I guess she's head of Lucasfilm, so you might
Yeah.
be right. It might be the head of Disney needs to get his butt in gear.
yeah,
for
Bob
you.
Iger.
so yeah.
Go, just find other companies. Farm this out to multiple companies and make multiple games. I don't understand why they...
Yeah, like, and it makes no sense because why is EA doing this bad when they have no competition to go up against for other Star Wars games? They're the only ones who have to make Star Wars
not
games.
that, but I mean, a Star Wars game should be a blockbuster hit
Yes,
every single time you
Yes.
put one out because of how large the fan base is.
it should be like the movies.
But,
Right.
but it's not because you guys have a track record of sucking.
yeah. It just it
And I
makes
think they
no
just
sense.
are pigeonholing themselves into the canon aspect of it, and they need to get away from that with the video games.
Yes.
Yes,
And they could just come out with a statement, pure and simple: no video games affect canon.
Yes.
And nothing that happens in canon affects what the video game
and guess what, people? You won't get backlash for that
No.
because
there'll
most
be none.
gamers won't freaking care.
Well, no, I don't think you'll have any really
there-
backlash. There
if
might
it-
be
there
the
be-
few
it'll be the
hardcore
minority.
people.
yeah,
be in such a minority that
yeah. Like,
But,
you will
but
not-
we're some of those like super fans, but we wouldn't care.
no. As
I would
long as you
prefer
make
it that way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
would I, because I'd get better games. Maybe I'd actually.
Yeah,
And
I'd
so-
go
I-
back to gaming. I haven't played
I
a.
haven't played a video game in forever.
and some pretty good stories too that you could go crazy with. Like, I don't know, it would just be awesome if you could do that. So yeah, I hope that Disney is looking into this. I hope that they're
They were smart.
I hope Disney fixes their part of it and
Yes.
Lucasfilm and just gets rid of VA completely and just
Yes.
says, "Hey, look, here we are. Let's work with this company and this company and this company, develop games.
Yeah, I'd
See
rather
what you
have-
can come up with."
I'd rather have Ubisoft or Activision, and you know that's bad when I'm praying for Ubisoft or Activision games. Yeah, like because they're as much of greedy butts as EA is, but they're not nearly as bad combined. So yeah, that's the rant that I was talking about. I'm surprised you didn't hear anything of this. Okay,
No, it didn't pop up on any of the
it's
stuff
been
I
a
followed.
complete crap storm
Of course, I've been avoiding
as of late.
Facebook the majority of the week. This past week, just
I definitely
because
don't.
reviews of Han Solo are starting to come out and
Yeah.
filter out. And I'm like, no, better.
I don't need to know.
I don't care what other people's opinions are. I'm going to make my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that wraps up. It's good to feel like get that off my chest. All that, all that anger that I have. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the 54th episode of Star Wars of Red to Chatter. Man, we're getting old. We're getting in there.
Yep.
I think we've definitely made our footing in YouTube. Like,
All our
Definitely.
content's out there.
Yeah.
We got a year's worth of stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to
Let's
get
keep-
people to watch it.
watch it.
We'll
Yeah.
just keep
And we'll
going.
just keep plugging along.
Yep.
It's fun. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it is. So, yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Jay, where can people find you?
Find me over on Instagram at jwilsonbydesign. And that's about it. And I'm also posting stuff all the time to
Red
the
to
Facebook page, Red 2 Chatter.
Go ahead.
You have me on YouTube as well, under Major Glitterix, link down in the description below. Lately, the internet has been not too kind to me, so uploading has been slow as of late for Major Glitterix, but I'm gonna get back into the groove of things, and there will be some surprises waiting. So yeah. So yeah, without further ado, please like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoyed. And yeah, that will be it for today.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.